welcome to Taking the Scenic Route, Scenic Regional Library's bi-weekly podcast. Now, if you're a longtime listener, you may be thinking to yourself, hey, Steve Campbell, why does your voice sound so oddly high? And no, Steve did not suck down a balloon full of helium. I am Sarah O'Daniel, the library's marketing specialist. Steve is on vacation this week, and he asked me to take over the podcast, and I happily accepted. So, our podcast provides listeners with a closer look at the library, including interviews with upcoming program presenters, information about new and existing services, interviews with authors, book recommendations from our staff, and much, much more. I'm excited to be here, so let's jump right in and get started. Our first guest is Jacob Tate. He's the presenter for the Dungeons and Dragons Club at our Union branch, which takes place every first and third Saturday from noon to 3 p.m. He is a Dungeons and Dragons enthusiast who has dedicated countless hours of learning the ins and outs of the game, its universe, and the intricacies of dungeon mastering. I can personally vouch for this. He and I have been married for 8 years, and our basement is currently the designated home for thousands of 3D printed Dungeons and Dragons models. Jacob, thank you so much for joining me today.
Hey, really happy to be here. I appreciate you having me on.
So, can you tell me about the Dungeons and Dragons Club that meets here at the Union Branch?
Yeah, as you said, we meet the first and third Saturday of every month. We are open to all ages and all skill levels. Whether you've been playing D&D for years or this is the first time you've ever done it. We're more than happy to welcome and take in anybody from any range. So we provide pre-made character sheets, dice, character models, and plenty of help with all of the rules. So anybody is welcome, and we really appreciate seeing new faces.
So, D&D is notable for the fact that campaigns often last over multiple sessions, but you can't really do that in a library setting. So, how have you taken the game and adapted it to a library setting where players don't have to worry about being there for every session?
Carefully. We've done a lot of just suddenly you're there, as well as luckily right now the campaign is taking place in the city of Waterdeep, which is a very large city in D&D. So it's really easy to say, oh, your character was shopping and rounded the corner and now you're in with the group, or your character had to run off and take care of an errand or some other issue, which makes it really easy to retcon in or out anybody as needed. Additionally, we do make changes to the story dependent on who is available. There have been times where no one from the previous few sessions has been able to show up, and it's an entirely different group of players, in which case we'll do some sort of side story, usually taking place also in the city or somehow related to the current story. But, we're always open to having multiple storylines going at the same time.
So, what got you interested in Dungeons and Dragons, and how long have you been dungeon mastering?
I first started playing D&D back when I was about 13. A good friend of mine, his dad, played a lot of original AD&D and 3.5. So he brought all of us over and made us all play this game he loved, uh, which was a really great time for me. I fell in love with the game, just the depth of the rules and the enjoyment of this narrative story building that can go in any direction. I've always enjoyed different narrative games, but the ability of D&D to go in any direction you want, develop the story in any way, is just unparalleled by anything else. And it really just fascinated me as a kid. And from there, it was about a year or so later that I managed to convince all of my friends to come and play at my house instead, because I had a really cool idea for a story I wanted to tell them all. And that was about the point I learned where D&D is not about the DM telling a story. That's actually really boring. Uh, Books and movies are really good for that. D&D is really about creating a story together. And that was a lesson I had to learn, but I've gotten a lot better at it.
So we've seen D&D undergo a massive resurgence just I'd say within the last decade or so with Stranger Things and the Dungeons and Dragons movie and popular podcasts. Countless examples I think I could throw toward that a lot of people have probably heard of. But why do you think this is, and what's the importance of D&D in our society that media has made it so popular, do you think?
Well, a big piece of why D&D has become so popular is that a lot of the generation who were deeply involved in the earlier editions, AD&D, D&D 3.5, are now grown to the point where they're running a lot of the big pieces of media. And if you talk about who really is the most interested in D&D, it involves so many different aspects of writing, story crafting, acting, and all of these different aspects of media are portrayed so heavily in the game, and with it such a low bar to entry. If you wanted to go out and make a film, you got to buy a camera. To write a story, you have to sit down and type hundreds of pages to create a novel and try to get it published. But with D&D, you just got to get three of your friends together at your coffee table and roll some dice. So it's a real low barrier for entry that a lot of people within media have been part of. And as they have grown into these larger leadership roles within the media landscape, we see that a lot of very famous people started playing D&D at a young age. Vin Diesel is a known and notable D&D player, as well as Henry Cavill. Henry
Mhm.
Cavill is a very well-known D&D player as well. So,
Yeah, he's very into fantasy stuff, D&D,
oh,
Warhammer, all
he
of
is.
that.
So a lot of nerd culture has become very mainstream these days, uh,
Mhm.
and you can see it all throughout. Like you said, with Stranger Things, it's a very common piece to see in media.
So I kind of want to go back really quick to you saying all you need is three friends and what'd you say? Three friends and a set of dice?
Three friends and a set of dice.
Okay, so being your wife and being married to you and seeing how many additional materials you can have. Like, for instance, I know you for your birthday, you asked for three new books that released with this newest edition, the Player's Handbook, the
Dungeon Master's Guide
uh,
and the
Monster
module.
Manual. So obviously there is money that you could put toward starting the game, but you don't really need that. What do you mean?
Yeah, you can actually download for free off D&D's website through Wizards of the Coast is the company that owns D&D, the intellectual property. You can get a free starter set. It's just the basic rules, gives you a couple monster stats, tells you how to put together a first level character, gives you all the information you need. And really, I personally love props. Um, you don't even actually need dice. You have dice roller apps and things you can do on your computer, but you can play entirely through your imagination instead of on a board with dry erase or miniatures. All of those things are completely optional. And back before I had much money and my own 3D printer, I would often do things like little scraps of paper that just had a name on it. And that would be your character model, or even pennies or coins or whatever random bits we had laying around on top of a sheet of paper that we would just draw out 1 inch grid.
Huh, so it really can just be accessible for anybody who wants to learn and play.
Oh, it's incredibly accessible. The biggest
Great.
thing is just reading the rules, and then even then, the rules are there to guide the fun and to help you make decisions as you play. If the rules get in the way of having that fun, even the rules are optional. No one's here to police your game.
This is really just we want you to have fun type of thing. Got it.
Yeah.
One thing that I see a lot online when I'm scrolling TikTok and Instagram are memes about D&D and a lot of DMs telling stories of how their players made their campaign go completely off the rails. Do you have any similar stories that you'd like to share? I think that these are often kind of funny.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Actually, I have a really good one that happened at the library. We had just finished our previous campaign running one of the module books that are pre-written adventures, and we were trying to do something pretty quick and easy. So I was going to have the group take a job from a baroness, and we're going to go hunt some vampires hidden in a cavern nearby. They went to get the job from the Baroness, talked to her about getting their money. They tried to argue that they should get their money up front. They rolled very poorly on all of their persuasion and deception skills, and did not manage to convince her. The group, taking this as a very deep insult to them personally, decided instead of actually doing the job that they were being hired to do, they wanted to rob her. So I have done all of this work, set up this cave, tried to give it like nice gothic vibes for this vampire, and been debating on whether I was going to go more Bram Stoker's Dracula or go a more humorous tint with more Twilight kind of feel to the vampires. And instead, suddenly we're about to do a Mission Impossible heist game. So I immediately start trying to come up with, okay, how is this layout for this manor? What are the guard schedules? And as we're talking about what their plan is going to be, the players come up with a great idea of selling dolls to the Baroness's child. And that was going to be their end. One of the characters was actually an animated doll themselves. So they're going to try to pass that character off as a doll and sell it to the Baroness's child. However, they decided that no, that'd be too hard. First, we need a reputation of selling good dolls. So instead, they decided to buy a small place in town and start manufacturing and selling dolls to the city. So it turned entirely into doll manufacturing simulator, where instead of rolling to fight monsters, we were rolling to see what our sales and net profit margins were. Had to take into account prices for our different commodities of cloth and string that we are using to sew up our dolls, and had to make them roll to see their doll making skill level.
I imagine that that's not a stat that is just given out. Did you
No,
have to?
not normally in the book, doll making, but that's the beauty of D&D. And again, that rules structure, it's more of a structure.
Uh-huh.
You can build on it, you can change it, you can do so much. And once you have an understanding of what the rules are trying to achieve and the general way that they go about it, it's actually not too difficult to just come up with things on the fly. So it's
So
a really great system for making these kinds of wild changes.
this whole session really just turned into a business management type class or type
Yes,
session,
we walked out
basically.
of
It went
there
from
with
adventurers to CEOs.
Yes, we walked out of that session with an Excel spreadsheet that was tracking all of their different inputs of their material goods, their overhead costs, and their productivity rates for labor, and trying to understand what kind of market they would be selling into. And, if they made too many high-end dolls, well, there's only so many high-end families
Oh
in the
my
town.
gosh.
So they will only be able to sell so many of those dolls.
That's incredible. How old would you say those players were that came up with this?
They were probably around like 16, 17. They were all high
Okay.
school students.
So that's really kind of like that really kind of shows the creativity that D&D gives.
It gives you a wide range of problem-solving opportunities. It really gives you a chance to tackle things in any direction you would like to. Really come at a problem from an angle that you really can't do in almost any other type of game.
So then would you say that D&D is kind of actually beneficial to youth that are kind of, just getting into it?
Oh, 100%. It does wonderful things for problem solving skills. Cooperation is a huge piece. In fact, even if you're not doing anything crazy like this, the base game is set up in a way that there's no way for your character to be good at everything. You have to rely on others to do things that your character can't. So it is really deeply about how do you work together to solve problems in a way that no one of you could.
So when it comes to playing Dungeons and Dragons, there's a lot to learn, which can be overwhelming. I know I personally trying to learn it have felt overwhelmed in the past. So do you have any advice for beginners who want to learn to play but don't really know where to start?
For most players, my suggestion would be if your DM is not brand new to the game, just tell them what you want to do. If you tell them, I want to achieve this result, they will tell you what you need to roll. They will tell you what dice to use, what skills to use, and what that involves. They might not get you exactly what you're looking for, but they will certainly be able to point you in the direction of here's what your character can do. if you were trying to learn the rules truly, there is so many resources in YouTube, different guides you can read, as well as just reading the books themselves. The books themselves can be a little dry. There's a lot of charts. So it takes a certain kind of nerd to enjoy reading through all of those charts and diagrams. But if you're that type, I found it very pleasurable. Uh, Otherwise, YouTube will teach you a lot, as well as watching live plays. There are plenty of podcasts that go through and talk about exactly how they're playing it, as well as things like Critical Role, where they play live over video chat, or Dimension 20, that is on YouTube. Where they play a bunch of different types of games, and a bunch of different D&D campaigns of all types of settings.
So similarly, just from watching you and the work that you put into your campaigns, I know DMing can be a lot of work. And you also might not know where to start there, as it requires a special knowledge of the game. So do you have any advice for aspiring dungeon masters?
Start small. Um, The initial joy of being a DM is this idea that you were going to create a world and tell this big story. And it is really easy to get wrapped up in this grand story that you're going to tell. However, if you don't have a good start, no one will last long enough to listen to your big story. Rather than worrying about the world and all of these different aspects within it, start with a town. Start with a single thing that needs solved. Give your players something directly to interact with immediately as soon as they enter the game. Things like a sudden attack of orcs raid the town, or there's a child missing and needs to be saved. These are classics, very common tropes, but they're there for a reason. People know exactly what to do when they're presented in that. Child has gone missing. Let's go look for him. Let's go save the kids and rescue the princess. It's very simple and very effective at getting your players to immediately start making decisions that will impact the world and the environment. And that's really where you're going to hook them, and getting them to really feel that they have also had an impact on where this world is going. And that's where you'll sprinkle in all your interesting details to get them to ask more questions.
Great. So, Jake, thanks so much for joining us today. As I mentioned before, the Dungeons and Dragons Club at the Union Branch meets every first and third Saturday from noon to 3 p.m. Like he said, it is open to all ages and all skill levels. Just show up and you will be welcomed with open arms and also a table full of miniatures because I believe Jake takes a lot of his miniatures every time he goes. Is that right?
Just a lot. Yeah, a
Just a
lot.
lot. Every time I've walked in there, there has been a table completely full of just miniatures set out. So again, thank you so much. We will be right back with our next guest.
Thank you for having me.
So our next guest here on the podcast is Cheri Kramme. She is a nutrition program associate here with the MU Extension here in Franklin County, and she will be presenting a junior chef program for all 9 of our branches for our part of our summer reading program. Cheri, welcome. Thank you so much for joining us.
Hi, thanks so much for having me.
Absolutely. So let's go ahead and get started. Can you please tell me a little bit about yourself and your role at the MU Extension?
Yes, great. I've been with the Franklin County Extension for a little over a year, and I'm a nutrition program associate, which is a, big title for a fun job. So my job entails educating citizens of Franklin County regarding nutrition, making ends meet on a low budget. I educate school-age children, seniors, community groups, organizations. I go all over. I also assist with SNAP education. So that would be the Supplemental Nutrition Education Program, formerly known as food stamps. I'm the middleman. I can help them fill out their application and submit it for them. We do cooking classes, gardening classes, nutrition education classes, a huge variety of classes, and they're all education-based curriculums so that we can deliver accurate information to the citizens of Franklin County and give them the most bang for their buck. So it's really an awesome, awesome program.
Wow, that's incredible. And that's also a lot. So how many organizations would you say that you present to, like monthly or so?
Well, I have partnerships with about 38 organizations and or schools in the county currently. And then I'm going to be adding new schools. Like for the summer, I'll be doing a new school. I do some of the homeless shelters in town. I'll be adding some of those this summer for a gardening class so they can have a little sustainability. So it always grows. So within the year, 38 doesn't sound like a ton, but it's a ton when you're doing a 6 week session. And this community has been amazing, opening their arms to and opening their minds to a program that they haven't heard of before. And it has been super successful. I've really, really enjoyed working with Franklin County citizens.
So, what can those who attend your junior chef program expect?
Well, the junior chef program is based out of an Illinois, let me see. It's an Illinois extension SNAP education program. That's who created it, and we adopted it as part of our curriculum. So it's a hands-on cooking class for youngsters, ages 8 to 13 generally, but we go up and down a little bit on that. So each lesson focuses on a specific food group, and then they get to learn the skills that are associated with that food group. So they will learn definitely safety, kitchen safety, stove safety, knife safety. Hand washing is always a big one. That's part of the safety. But then they get to learn to cut up things and prepare simple recipes. So if they want to help their families cook, or if they want to do a little bit of cooking on their own, that with their parents' permission, we always say, then they can experiment with that a little bit, and it just provides them with a little self-confidence. And I really like this program.
Yeah, that sounds like something I really would have enjoyed when I was a kid.
Yeah.
Why do you think it's important for children to begin learning the fundamentals of cooking and kitchen safety?
I think that when they realize that making some changes to their diet and adding some fruits and vegetables, or even just making changes with water, the confidence that it gives them on how well they feel, and that they can share that information with their family, and that they can cook with their family, and that they can have a little bit of a say in some of the snacks and meals that they're eating. It gives them a sense of pride. I see their eyes light up when they're so excited whenever we're doing recipes and they produce this meal that they actually like. And they
Mhm.
had no idea that they liked green peppers. They had no idea that they liked hummus. They had no idea they liked carrots. And they are so proud of themselves. They always want to show me, Miss Grammy, I tried this. I'm like, awesome. And they're tickled that they got to make it.
That's incredible because we have so many youth who are, picky, or people call them picky.
Mhm.
But I can really imagine that if you're giving them, yeah, the confidence to cook, it kind of cooking is very creative.
It is.
And give them that creativeness to try new things. That's really important.
And it's usually, I found that they'll, number one, try things with me that they would never try with their parents.
Mm.
And it's not because I quote unquote make anyone try anything. I always set that preference. You don't have to try it. I would love for you to look at it and hold it and smell it, as long as you know that everything's safe for them.
Mhm.
You don't have to try it. And I would say I have like a 95, 98% try rate. I mean, they are so open to it.
Really?
And they're tickled when they do it. And then the second thing is they just don't know. They just don't have access to some of these things that we can bring them. And so it's exciting. And when all their peers are trying something new, they're really willing to try something new. And that's even with my adults. Some of the adults who have been, maybe in drug court or
Hmm.
have been misplaced from their homes, they haven't had access to that. It's been a generational thing that they
Yeah.
haven't had a garden full of vegetables in their family. So trying something like air fried broccoli stems. I know that sounds crazy, but we made those into French fries and the whole shelter loved them. And we were all like, we won't waste anything now with this air fryer. We're going to make French fries out of the stalks and we're going to air fry the florets. And they were thrilled. They'd never been exposed to anything like that.
I think I'm gonna need the recipe for air fried broccoli
Yeah.
stems.
And with some of our adult programs right now, with all of our adult programs right now, if the participants attend at least 6 classes, they get a small appliance.
Wow,
That
that's
has been
that's huge
huge. Yes.
because appliances are not cheap.
No, it has been huge. It's been really awesome to see the faces when they cannot believe they're getting a blender, a griddle, a juicer, whatever they choose.
So what kind of, so you named those three, but are there any others that, like what kind of appliances do you offer?
They can get electric skillets, blenders, food processors. There's even a choice for them to make. So if, say, they really wanted something that wasn't on the list and it was a small appliance, they get air fryers.
Oh.
The University of Missouri Extension, I have found, is very generous. We want to help the community. And so that's why all of my programs are free. And we want to get out there and say, hey, we can help. We can make these fine-tune changes on your diet, and it can have a huge impact on them. So I really, really love what we stand for.
So that kind of leads into my next question of you mentioned to me that the MU extension is the best kept secret. So can you kind of delve into like just even more of what the extension is and what types of services and programs you offer? Like you've mentioned the cooking, but is there any
Sure.
others?
Yeah, so we obviously with my program, I do the SNAP education, the cooking. I just go out and in the community and see what they need and try and meet those needs. But our extension building here in Franklin County, so we have resources that we offer the community like youth development through the 4-H, health and nutrition education, agricultural support and business development. So they provide, just like us, science-based solutions tailored to the local needs of the community. So if it's a farmer seeking sustainable business or sustainable practices on his farm, or a parent who needs some parenting classes or focus on the kids' classes, they provide that here, or an entrepreneur wanting to grow their business. We have supports for that. We have an agronomist here in the office now, which is pretty awesome. Yeah, it has so much potential, and most of the services are free or low cost for sure.
Okay, so if people want to find your services and programs and
Mhm.
classes, where would they go to find these?
So we have an awesome website, University of Missouri Extension, Franklin County, and that's all they would have to search, and it would pop up. Franklin County, Missouri, probably put that in. And then they're on Facebook. All of the activities regarding the fair, regarding upcoming classes are generally posted there. Or they can just call the office. The phone number for the office is 636-583-5141.
Okay.
And they can just say, hey, this is a need that I have. Can you guys meet it? And I bet if there's not a need that we could meet, the staff here is awesome about finding someone in the community that can help them. So,
What an incredible resource. I truly had no idea. And you're
yeah.
just right across the street from us here at
Uh-huh.
Union.
Yeah. Yeah, that's usually what I'm trying to advocate for at the University of Missouri because I didn't know what all we offered until I started to work here, and it makes me feel so proud. So I want to get it out there.
Yeah, and you should feel proud. That's really cool. Well, thank you again so much for joining us, Cheri. That was really informational.
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. Once again, Cheri will be presenting Junior Chef for our summer reading program at all 9 branches. It will be a part of their Kids Club program. So if you are looking for that, it will be in the month of June. You can go to our website, scenicregional.org, to our events calendar, and you can find it there for your local branch. So again, Cheri, thank you so much.
Great. I look so forward to doing the programs this summer.
So, our next guest with me here today is Christy Schink. She's the Associate Director of Youth and Outreach Services, and she has been very hard at work preparing for our summer reading program, which begins May 31st. This year's theme is Color Your World, and we have tons of fun events planned. Christy, welcome.
Thank you. Thank you very much. This is our biggest thing for me as a youth programmer, the biggest thing of the year
Yeah,
at the library's summer reading program. So I'm excited to talk about it.
yeah, this is like your Super Bowl.
Yeah. If I watched a Super Bowl, knew what that was. No, I didn't.
Okay, so first things first, for those who don't know, can you tell us what the summer reading program is and why it's important?
Sure. So summer reading program, libraries have been doing it for 50 plus years, is around when it started. And it was started as that to fill in the gap of when kids leave school until they come back to school just to encourage that reading. So at first, it was just for children, many, many, many years. Probably 20 years ago or so, we started adding adults to our program. And why not? Everybody should be reading, and adults reading is a great example for kids. So we started adding adult programs and then adult reading logs and things to summer reading program. So basically, what summer reading is you sign up, get a reading log, keep track of your reading in some way, and then get incentives, prizes for reading in the summer. We also, of course, do all kinds of fun programs along with that, but the core of summer reading program is keeping track of reading and reading during the summer and then getting rewarded for that. The reason that we do summer reading program is because so many studies have shown that kids who stop reading on their last day of school and don't pick up a book and read, or a magazine or a news, whatever, kids who stop reading the last day of school and don't read again until they go back to school in the fall, their reading scores, their reading levels will go down. It is not might go down or may go down. 100% a child's reading level, their ability to read and comprehend, will go down if they spend 2+ months not reading. It's very, very important. In fact, one time I was talking to a group of kids at a school. We go out to all the schools in May and talk about summer reading program, encouraging them to sign up. And a teacher told me that he had kind of just taken a break for the summer, and didn't really pick up a book or anything and didn't read through the summer. And he noticed when he got back to school and started teaching, I believe it was a 5th grade teacher, he noticed a decline in his reading speed and comprehension that he kind of had to work back up to. So, it's not just kids, but it's that age of kids when you're learning to read, and then past that learning to read, just learning for comprehension, reading to learn, how important that is in those ages to maintain your reading levels and not be working backwards when you start the new school year, having to play catch up to get back to where you were, but going back to school in the fall, just ready to take off and new learning. So that is why we do it. It's called the summer slide, and that is what we are trying to prevent by having a summer reading program.
So how do you complete the program?
Okay, so this year we're doing things a little bit differently because we have always had those super go-getters who get their reading log and they're just like back within the first week. I did it all, I'm done. And then our worries are, well, if you don't continue to read throughout the summer, it really wasn't of much benefit. So we were trying to think of a way, how do we keep them reading all summer long? So this year I found some other libraries who were doing things by days, and we thought we would give this a try. So our program is called 50+ days of reading. So what they're going to do is on the reading log, there's a scene with trees that they get to color in because, our theme is color your world. So they're going to color in a tree for every day that they read. So as long as you have read that day, you get to color in a tree, or if you're keeping track of it through our Beanstack app, which we encourage everyone to sign up and use our Beanstack app, very easy to use. And then they just get to click. When they go into log reading, they just get to click, okay, this day, I read. They just click on the date on the calendar and it logs the reading for them. People might ask, how much do I need to read to be able to check that? Well, that's up to you. What is the reading level, the comfort level you have with the amount of time you want to read? I can tell parents, caregivers, that the American Medical Association, Pediatric Association recommend 15 to 20 minutes a day. Schools, everyone who has some kind of metric says ideally your kids are reading 15 to 20 minutes a day. So I can say that's what's recommended, but the amount of time you spend reading each day is up to you, as long as you have read that day, whether that's reading a book, reading a magazine, reading the newspaper, reading an ebook online, or even being read to. If, as a family, you sit down and have reading time, boom, mark that. If you're in summer school and your teacher's reading to you, boom, you read that day. If you're on vacation and listening to a book in the car, that counts as reading. So each day that you read, you're just going to mark that on your reading log and or on the Beanstack app. Then after you have completed 25 days of reading, you will get a midway prize. For kids, that is a vinyl sticker, kids and teens. It's a Color Your World vinyl sticker. And for adults, that is this plastic little zipper pouch for keeping your treasures in. And then after you complete 50 days of reading, you will get kids and teens get a free book of their choice. And adults will get this amazing pint glass that's branded with Library, the Scenic Regional Library on it. So that's a new exciting prize, something we've never given out before. So we're excited about that one. We just heard a lot of people saying, man, you sure give out a lot of tote bags. So we wanted to change and do something different this year. So in addition to reading, some other things, let's say, you missed a bunch of days. How am I going to get my 50 days in? It's coming close to the end of summer. Anytime you attend a library program, you can enter that as an activity in Beanstack, and that will count as a day of reading. Or if you're keeping track on your paper reading log, if you attend a library program, you can color in one of your trees. Or teens and adults, if you write a book review, you can color in one of your trees and put that in Beanstack, and that counts as a day of reading.
So teens and adults will also be coloring in trees.
Yes, they will. It's
Okay.
the same reading log for all ages.
Oh, how fun. I like that we're combining.
Yeah.
So 50 days, it sounds like that's really intimidating, but it's really not. Can you explain why that is?
Our summer reading program goes from May 31st to August 16th. That is roughly about 80 days, between 75 and 80 days, which is way more than 50. So it's not like if I miss a day of reading, I'm not going to get it done. It is very easy to, skip reading while you're on vacation, or you're not going to read on the weekends. You're still going to have plenty of time to get those 50 days in. And like I said, if you've skipped too many days and you're worried about it, attend some fun, great educational library programs or write some book reviews. Although we really do encourage that habit, keep reading. And another reason that we're doing the days instead of minutes or number of books is just establishing that daily reading habit.
So you mentioned that everybody gets a free book and a pint glass and a midway prize. But is there anything else that they can expect after they complete the program?
Absolutely. After you complete the program, we have drawings for all ages. So our littlest guys in preschool, when they complete the program, their name goes into a drawing, and they could win these amazing little teddy bears that a wonderful friend of the library has donated with embroidered little shirts on them that say, I love books or I love reading. They're so adorable.
That is so cute.
Yeah, so we have 9 of those. Every branch will be giving one away. We have a Duplo set that they could win, or some blocks. There's some fun rainbow and little building shape and tree blocks that they can win. And because it's Color Your World, there's a mess-free art set. Crayola makes these markers that you can use that only work on special paper somehow. By some magic, they can only work on special paper. So
Those are the kind of markers we love.
That's right, a mess-free art set. Kids that are a bit older will go into a drawing for either a dragon stuffy. We are having a dragon stuffy program we'll talk about later where they can stuff their own dragon, but this is one that's 37 inches long, giant, big, super soft dragon stuffy they could win. A Lego set, a paint your own dragon lamp, and other art supplies, and a spin art set and an art supply set. Also a beautiful game called Sakura Heroes.
Okay.
So the older kids, their name goes into that drawing.
All right. I want to go back to this paint your own dragon lamp for a second. Is that like a
Sure.
coloring book? Like on the
No.
lamp, or what is that?
No, it is actually a little lamp, like a bedside
Yeah.
lamp that looks like a dragon sitting on an egg
Oh,
that comes with all the paints, and you actually get to paint your dragon.
ooh,
And then it lights up like a little bedside lamp.
that's incredible.
It's adorable.
That's so
Yes.
cute. Okay, so that's for kids, but what
Mhm.
about teens and adults?
All right. Teens and are a little different. For kids, their name just goes into the drawing, and based on their age, we choose one of the age appropriate prizes for that child once we draw the name. But for teens and adults, they actually get to choose what prize they want their ticket to go into. So when they complete the program, they earn a ticket. Then they go into Beanstack, or if they're not using Beanstack, the library staff will do it for them, and they put their name into a drawing. So they can choose to have their ticket go into a drawing for a $25 Amazon gift card. This is teens.
Hmm.
Or an Owala water bottle. I asked around a lot and found out that is the new cool thing. It's not a Stanley anymore. It's an Owala water bottle.
All right, let me mark that on my trend list real quick.
Or we also bought Disney Diamond Art pictures. So they are different Disney heroes and villains. And each branch has a different one that they will be giving away where they do the diamond art, where they have the little crystal things
Mhm.
that you put down on the sticky thing, almost like a paint by number,
Yes.
but with gems.
Those are so
And
fun.
yes, so, and they're nice big size ones too, probably like 11 by 14.
Oh, so they can hang them on their wall afterwards.
Exactly. Yes.
Awesome.
So those are the three prizes that teens will have an option to put their name in the drawing for at each branch. Adults also earn a ticket. So for adults, they put the ticket into the basket of their choice. The baskets at each branch are either coffee tea themed, hobby themed, or books and reading
Mm.
themed. But each branch had the option to choose what they wanted to fill that basket with, what hobby the hobby basket's going to be, or whether it's going to be a coffee or a tea or both basket. So every branch, although each branch has three baskets and they are those three themes, each branch will be different contents of those baskets. So to see what your branch is giving away this summer for adults, you just need to go into your local branch sometime this summer and take a look at those baskets and be ready to choose from these three amazing baskets which one you want to put your ticket in.
Okay, so summer reading starts May 31st. How are we kicking this whole thing off?
We are having some amazing kickoff parties for summer reading on Saturday, May 31st from 10 a.m. till noon. Now, these kickoff parties are sponsored by the Friends of the Library. Each of our branches has its own Friends of the Library group, and so they were given the option if they would like to have one. So, not all 9 locations are having a kickoff party. They're actually only at Herman, New Haven, Owensville, Pacific, Sullivan, and Wright City. So hopefully if you live in one of the towns not having a kickoff, you can get to one of the ones that are fairly close by and join us in celebrating the kickoff, the start of summer reading program. At our kickoffs, they will all have an obstacle course type bounce house. They will all have face painting, balloon animals, and snow cones. And then, of course, the opportunity to sign up for summer reading program, pick up your reading log, get help from staff with signing up on Beanstack if you'd like to use that, and just all kinds of fun things going on. Now, Herman, if you may have heard, has had a bit of an issue with flooding, so the branch will not be open by May 31st, but we are looking into alternative locations. We will still be having the kickoff party and we'll be making announcements about where that will be held.
Right, so you can keep an eye on our Facebook page and
Mm-hmm.
our website on our events calendar,
Yep,
and to check out where the Herman kickoff party is going to be. We're still having it. We just aren't sure where yet.
that's right.
Yes. So talking about the kickoff parties and everything, it's really making me think about how when I was a little kid growing up in St. Clair, probably, I guess 25 years or so ago, my mom she took us to the library every week, and we did participate in the summer reading program, and it was a lot different back then, as in, I don't think there was nearly as much stuff as we do now. So what kind of children's programs are we going to be having? Because I know you have been working very hard on this.
Yes. So, of course, summertime or summertime. It is summertime. Story time continues throughout the summer. Every branch has a weekly story time that you can bring your little guys to up through 5 years old. Come into story time for uh, reading, songs, playing, rhyming, crafts, all kinds of fun things. This summer, of course, all about colors and art and drawing and all these fun things. But then, in addition to having our weekly story time, like we do all year round, we add on a weekly kids club because we know these school age kids are out of school. So we want something going on at the library every week for them. So each branch will be having fun activities once a week at least for school age kids as well. Some of the extra special activities going on are junior chef. Cheri from, I think you just heard from her, Cheri from the MU Extension will be coming out to talk to kids about how to cook and kitchen safety. So we're really excited about her coming out and doing that at all of our branches. We will also be having the bubble bus at every branch in June. So come on out. The bubble bus will be in the parking lot, or in the case of Herman, to be determined. So you can come out and enjoy just playing in mounds and clouds and mountains of bubbles. We have had them for a couple years now, and it is always one of our most popular events. The rest of our events will be happening at some branches. So 4 or 5 branches will be having Mad Science, where they're going to come out and explore color science and do some amazing science experiments with the kids.
That's always a popular one too.
It is. So you would, again, check Facebook, the library events calendar, but also your reading log. On the back, when you pick up your reading log, we'll list all of the events happening at your local branch this summer. Then also another one I'm excited about is Bow Wow Canine Entertainment. This is a new one we've never had before. So Bow Wow Canine Entertainment is going to be bringing out agility and trick dogs. So it's again another outdoor program at 4 or 5 of the branches. It is in Herman, location to be determined, but you can come out and sit around and watch some amazing smart dogs do some unbelievable tricks.
That sounds so fun. I am really looking forward to that one.
Yeah. Now, I know this is a lot, but we can continue into July where we have Animal Tales coming out and they bring out live animals. And this year, their focus is on camouflage. So they're going to be bringing out animals that do some amazing things to try to hide from predators. And they will actually have those live animals with them. We've got Will Stuck coming out to do a program called Pigments of Your Imagination. And he will be talking about art. And he likes to say that he makes a mess with music, education, stories, and science, MESS. So this summer show is going to revolve around art, artists, and the world of color. In that same vein, some of our branches will be having the Imagine Arts Academy. The Crayola Imagine Arts Academy is coming out to several of our branches to talk about designing board games. Really excited about this one. It's called Game On Board Game Design. They will be bringing all the supplies out that a kid would need to create their own board game and talk about the elements of board games and what makes a good game, and then assisting those kids to create their own board game that then they will have to take home with them.
That's so fun and such a great use of creativity.
It is. And then I keep saying I'm really excited about this, but I'm excited
We're
about them
excited about
all.
all of it.
Yeah. I just met this company from Kansas City area, Mr. MetaChess, and he's going to come out with battle bots. So he's got like Hexbug sized robots that are replicas of, if you remember the BattleBots TV show, replicas of BattleBots, and kids actually get to control those robots in a miniature arena and have battles. In addition to that, there'll also be some tech toys on the side with hex bugs that kids get to uh, try to design and play with their own, not ones that they can take home, but they get to practice a little bit with designing and figuring out how these robots work, in addition to having the opportunity for the BattleBot arena.
So there really is something for everybody happening with our programming.
There is. Of course, there's teen programs at every branch. They're different at every branch. So please, please go to our website, our library events calendar, look on the back of that reading log and see what's going on. There's going to be some great adult programs all summer. So yes, there is something for everyone.
And if you want to see, or if you want to check out the full calendar of events, you can find that on our website, and always keep an eye out on our Facebook pages too. Our branches are constantly posting about the fun things that they're doing and the fun things coming up. Christy, is there anything else you'd like to add?
Yeah, just that reminder that everyone, you should have gotten your kids, hopefully, if they're in public school or most of the private schools around, should have brought home a postcard that talked about a summer reading program and had the dates. And if your community's having a kickoff, that was on there. Be sure to come in and get that reading log. Even if you're keeping track online, you can pick up that reading log just as a visual reminder, and that schedule for your branch. Everything happening that summer, this summer, is on the back of that reading log. Stick that on your fridge, and just remember every day, keep an eye on that and see what's happening at the library, and come join us for all of this world of color fun.
So the summer reading program, we said, starts May 31st. How long do people have to complete their 50 days worth of reading and enjoy all of our programs? When does it end?
Summer reading program actually ends on August 16th. So, of course, programming goes year round.
Yes.
We just have more in the summer. Keep joining us for programming all the time, but make sure you've completed your 50 days by August 16th to be entered into the end of summer drawings, all those fun toys and games and all the exciting stuff that we're giving away. You have to have your reading log completed and turned in, whether it's on Beanstack and all recorded there, or if you're turning in a physical paper, that needs to be into the library by August 16th to get your name in the end of summer drawings.
Okay, well, Christy, thank you so much for joining us and telling us all about summer reading. I know that I am very excited for it to start and get underway.
Thank you. Thank you for inviting me to come and talk about this, one of my favorite things to talk about.
And that wraps up the latest episode of Taking the Scenic Route, Scenic Regional Libraries podcast. I had such a good time today. Please join us again in 2 weeks when we release our next episode.